met me. I'm the chapter director for Startup Grind. This event was brought to you by an awesome team with a lot of folks in the room. So thank you to everyone here that helped out with that. Nate, Carolyn, Eric. If I'm missing anyone, come slap me in the back. But I'm gonna say a couple words as we kick off. Nate mentioned we have a lot of new faces here, so can we get a quick show of hands of anyone this is their first Startup Grind event? All right. So quick context on how these events roll. We've been doing these like pitch-ins, which are like pitch practice events or light pitches. So there's not a cash prize for any of this. You're not necessarily going to walk into a VC deal room in a second. But the goal is to get feedback, get practice, and then wherever we can make connections or help as a community, that's the goal. And then the feedback from the crowd, everyone has something to contribute. So when you get questions, hopefully that helps you further your business. And then afterwards, you guys will have some more time to network and make more connections there. The flow of this will be 5 minutes to present, and then 5 minutes of Q&A, and we'll be able to loose on that time based on how quickly things are going, or if you finish quickly, you get more Q&A. But with that being said, we'll have 3 pitches tonight. We have Kaylin, Mark I think will be next, and then Connor will wrap it up for us tonight. If anyone else has any announcements for stuff that's going on in the community, we'll kind of do that at the end before we let everyone run back to the bar. As a quick note for the folks that are new, I just wanted to jump up here, because I can. I have 2 little children, and this is like a treat for me to come out here and do these things. And my wife gives me the support to do that, so she's awesome. And we just had our 3-year anniversary yesterday, so very happy for that. Thank you. And to show timelines, this is 5 years now we've been doing Startup Grind events. So in April of 2019 was the first, 2019, was the first event we had. And we just crested, I think we're at 106 events. So we just crested like our 100 event mark. So this has been going pretty well. We keep reincarnating ourselves or evolving. So also, as you guys have feedback on things you want to see as entrepreneurs or as founders, or things you've seen in other experiences, visits to other cities, past lives, please bring it to our attention. Our goal here, right, is to connect, inspire, and educate the local startup community. We have a give first, mentality, and part of that is, bringing in whatever we can from, the community needs to help bring that to fruition. We try to also act as kind of like the glue between different groups within Rochester to get people from and to different events. So similarly, if you say there's an area that we should tap into that's got like-minded people, feel free to throw it our way or volunteer for us. With that, any questions before we get on the main show? Thanks again for coming. I bring you Caitlin.
Thank you guys so much for coming out and everything like that. My name is Kaylin Gold. I work for a company in town where we do residential real estate and U.S. equities. And I myself am an analyst there where I do more quantitative investing and trading and such. And I came into a problem while I was doing our annual reports and everything like that, where I was looking at mainly our expenses and everything. And I was trying to identify if we were competitively competing in our markets and everything like that. Because there were some expenses like maybe the accountant bill was too high, the consultants were maybe charging a little too much and everything like that. And I was trying to identify if that was true or not, because getting a handle on expenses in this day and age is very important. I'm sure everybody's feeling that wallet crunch right now, and that's been a good part of my job there, is trying to make sure how we can get a wrangle on our expenses and everything like that. And so this idea was born where I started realizing, like, do other businesses have this kind of problem? Probably. Now, like I said, I work with U.S. equities. I have it easy. There's plenty of data on many publicly traded companies out there where I can easily find information on how well they're spending their money and how well they're taking that money in and everything like that. And so I didn't have that though for like my specific company and everything, because it's private, right? No one wants to give away their secret sauce or anything. So that information wasn't available to me. And I realized then that I needed to start trying to figure out, like, okay, how can I figure out how these expenses are doing and everything. And I wanted to look at other businesses, specifically our competitors. If I had their books, that would be a cinch, so to speak. So this idea was born where I want to create a market data place, so to speak, where all these private companies contribute their financials on an anonymous basis. And then that information is made accessible to anyone who is contributing, or potentially even someone who wants that information and everything like that. So basically the gist here is companies contribute their financials, we anonymize, secure it, no giving away the secret sauce, and standardize it, because you guys all probably have very different books and everything like that because of the various accounting nuances that exist. And then from that, I had another idea where more you could start offering consultancy services off of that platform. And so all the businesses that are on there can start receiving new insights and everything. So here is specifically our value proposition, where the first part is we're providing reports off of the information that you've contributed. And right now it's based off of publicly traded companies. So like here on the left here, we have a gross profit margin trend in the trucking industry. So I don't think anybody here is in the trucking industry, but if you are, you've been feeling the squeeze, as you may see by these downtrends in these various companies. That's true of all of them. And then over here, this is randomly simulated data for advertising expense and everything like that, where the idea is if I take the unconsolidated financials of a company, I can then benchmark it to their total expenses and compare that to everybody so that they can identify if they're spending too much or too little in their space and everything like that. And then over here, the second part is we provide plans for people. How do you use this information? How do you implement it and everything like that? And right here, I'm showing a little bit of the UI for what it would look like, where you see a blurred out version of the opportunity you can take advantage of. And then here is what we're suggesting the improvement would be. And then you pay right then and there 5% if you just wanted that information, 10% if you want me to do it. And even that price might be too low. So right here, this is how the capabilities are coming together, how this platform is being made and everything like that. What I want to do is get people's accounting software and be able to directly integrate my platform to it. And that way I can easily get the information like that. Right now, I'm doing it manually. And I don't have a degree in FAR accounting, that's financial accounting and reporting, but it is something that I do nearly daily, so I'm getting pretty good at it. And then over here we have R and Python pipelines to various databases. That's to get fundamental and alternative data. And then I'm also attempting, because it is really hard to get people to give away their books like that, to use personal touch from consultants, specifically students and everything, where I'm going to use like a hub and spoke model of colleges, and the students go out from those colleges to local businesses in the area to try and get their data and actually talk to them, because I myself am tired of talking to machines. I do that every day. I think other people are as well, and I'm hoping that will come about. So right here, these are the markets and revenue models that I'm targeting, so to speak. I want to start out with a subscription membership to the platform and everything like that. And then eventually we'll start doing like consulting services from it, and then selling the data to various institutions that want it. And then eventually branching out to like help CPAs and other people in the financial services industry use that information to help their clients as well, because there'll just be some kids who don't want to trust some college kid with their numbers. So here's my current go-to-market strategy. I received a grant from my undergrad for $4,600. That's covering a student right now who's down in Allentown, PA. He's going to be doing similar events like this, run around talking to people, getting them interested in the platform, figuring out how they can better do business and such. And then going to test a bunch of sales models, see what my response is. Am I getting sales customers? Do I need more students? Or do I potentially need to just scrap that and do a whole web app and everything like that? The reason why I'm doing students is because that's cheaper right now. It's very expensive to build an application like what I'm envisioning here, and I'm trying to bootstrap this. So this is a bit of an overview of my target customer. Really love it for them to be organized, so I don't have to do much work, but that's probably a pipe dream right there. If they're experiencing high costs, you know, that's something I can easily step in and say, hey, let's do something about that. I can easily see you're not doing so well in this industry. So I myself have a background in real estate, that's why I'm suggesting it. And that is something I can consult on. Eventually I'll have all different specializations for the various industries. And then here, I'm hoping the business is very young, and so is potentially the CEO. Just because they're people that, you know, don't necessarily have this information readily available. These are some of my current competitors. I'm not even gonna do the first three really, but Intuit is my biggest one. They have the data, they are accountants, they're more tax accountants, which is great. So they're not necessarily helping their people that are storing that information on their platform, but they have started giving limited information just recently this year. However, I haven't seen any traction, but I am very leery of their potential to just sweep the whole market, so to speak. This is the current management team. It's me, myself. I have a bachelor's in applied math and econ and biz, currently pursuing my analytics degree at Georgia Tech, and I do quantitative investing in real estate and stocks. And I really love math and money. I call them my M&Ms. And then here we have Dr. King. He's the person who gave the grant. He was the entrepreneur director over at my school. He's possibly a board member. We'll see if he wants to do it. He actually just recently retired, but he has been a great help with me and an excellent mentor so far. So here's some draft financials. My biggest expenses are going to be either labor, web dev, first labor, definitely web dev labor, but right now just labor. I'm targeting a gross profit margin of 76%, which is about in line with what QuickBooks and Intuit and other consulting services of the software as a service are doing. I use OSINT software to do everything, and that's just what I've been familiar with. I believe the platform can be run off of that, so that's going to really cut my costs down and keep my margins up. So I've projected a runway and some basic net income here, where I have that grant. That student's going to run around talking to people. I want like 10-ish customers to get over the summer, see what happens. Targeting an ARPU of about 50 to 200. We'll see. You know, man tragt und Gott lacht. That means man plans and God laughs. So we'll see how well it goes. And my CAC and CLV, customer acquisition cost to customer lifetime value. I don't know yet. We'll see what people are doing. Currently, I've been product testing and doing all that off of my friends and family. So I don't have any necessarily like paying customers right now. I don't have the time to go around and get them, which is why I got that grant to get that guy to run around and do it. And then here's my current to-do list. Do I want to evaluate value proposition? Yes. I need to figure out if you want this. It's a bit of a hard ask up front. You know, give me all your information like that. We'll see. Gonna monitor how well my student does. I need to definitely tweak all the reports, make it easier for people to understand, and then finalize the supply chain, get those software integrations so I don't have to do all this work. And then here are my two asks from all of you guys, which will lead into the questioning phase. You think I should get a co-founder, where someone who's probably more experienced at tech sales, running around and trying to get as much market share as possible? Maybe I get like a developer, maybe I don't even bother. And then do I do the web app now, or do I try and wait to see a little bit how well that guy's gonna run around and drum up business for me, and then do the web app later? Thank you guys for listening. Any questions?
So,
Sure.
somebody who arrived late,
Yeah. Oh.
30 seconds, what do you do?
Okay, so I do financial analytics for businesses, small ones specifically,
And why do they need you?
because a lot of them are feeling that pressure, that economic pressure from all these expenses and everything like that. And so I believe that my platform can really help out.
What problems, what answers do you give them?
The specifics of what their corporate finance ratios are. So like if their gross profit margin is in line with their competitors and whatnot. Yes.
You need to get one target market of the city, all the pizzerias that contribute. What is this market going to be for you to show everyone else that, who do you think is going to contribute the most? Your dream scenario.
Yeah, so over at Georgia Tech, we're learning about a multi-armed bandit modeling and everything like that. So I'm going to do a lot of exploration first to try and identify what that is, and then eventually exploit that specific market so that I can really utilize my resources the best way I can. Like I said, I tried doing this online thing. I didn't say that earlier, but where I was like posting all around, trying to do like, you know, online sales and whatnot through the social medias. That wasn't working at all, and so I just immediately scrapped that right off the bat. But yeah, I do believe that real estate, because that's my background, so to speak, would be a good industry to start out with. Maybe Allentown, because that's where the one person who applied to the job is going to be. So that's yeah, a little bit of the other situation there. But I am doing the rigorous testing there. So did you have any other follow-up on that explanation, or?
How many businesses to apply or to give you their financials would you need to make a strong analysis of?
So right now, none,
industry,
because I can do the comparisons to publicly traded companies right now, and I actually do offer that.
Yeah, like, aren't you going to be getting small businesses, not publicly traded ones?
Correct. Yes, but the reason why a small business would want to compare their margins and everything like that to a large company, because if you're not doing good business, just go buy their stock, right? So that's yeah, a bit of the gist there. But it is just to really start giving people more of an idea of how well they're doing. And yeah, I don't want to do, you know, big, scary publicly traded company to a small business and whatnot, but that's what I have right now. And so yeah, if I have like 1,000 small businesses, eventually I'd like transition the platform to just solely be showing your direct competitor, anonymized of course, but something that is really showing you those deep insights.
You seem like a good stock picker.
Well, it is my current job, yes, but yeah, I believe there's a big synergy between what I'm pitching here and what my current job is. So, any other questions?
Do you think craft breweries would benefit from this?
I believe everybody can benefit from it. Yeah, I don't know anything about brewing though, so and maybe I'll find some student who is interested in it and get them to run around the breweries and say, yeah. Hey.
Some companies want to become big. They're small, want to become big companies. So like knowing what Big Brother's doing, I don't know. But there's a lot of craft breweries around here.
So, you mentioned the web app versus what are you doing now? And if you had a web app, what platform are you considering for managing the customer relationship management, subscription services, payments? Is there a particular service you're considering for the place for web?
Sure. So right at the moment, I have this prototype, this demo here, where I can do analysis of any industry so long as they give me accounting access to their books. And then I can generate this report here. And this is an HTML flat file, so this can go on a website, this can just be emailed to somebody, and then they open it up in a web browser like so. So this is Google Chrome right here. It works with any of them. You can even open it up in OneDrive. I've tested that out, so you can look at it on the go, so to speak, and always have it at your fingertips and whatnot. Where I do have a very basic website to like enable payments and everything like that, but yeah. I'm not really too familiar with web development and such, so to answer your question, I don't know what software platform I would use. I'd probably use like the Django programming language or something like that, like a Node.js framework, do custom so that I can get like this, and also the consulting, the improvement plan, excuse me, so that people would be able to like interact with it directly. But I also do want to do that personal touch aspect, because like I said, I think people want a little more from us, so that's what I'm trying to offer. Yes?
Could you show your slide again, the to-do list?
Sure. I'm working backwards here, so okay, yeah, the to-do list.
Well, I just wanted to commend you on that you're thinking about the value proposition, because that's absolutely where it sounds like a little bit more of a deep dive is warranted, especially niching down, which I think a lot of the questions relate to.
Of course.
And the value proposition, obviously, data is great and you get insights from it. There's a lot of ways people get that. I think there's also a lot of benchmarks in terms of is my
You're talking about KPIs?
data point good or bad in relation to the industry. There's a lot of businesses that do that. So I think you're clearly interested in this space and you're very knowledgeable, and you're great with numbers. I would definitely say, I think you're gonna very much benefit from a bit more customer research. You may find a problem or an opportunity that's a bit different that could be really big.
Yep.
The NSF has a short course they run all the time, which focuses pretty much just on that. It's like looking into the customers.
What organization is that?
The National Science Foundation.
Okay.
They run it, so they have local short courses. I think it's run at a lot of the universities locally. They might be able to do, and they walk you through that process.
Mhm.
I-score?
Yeah, ICOR.
Any other questions?
No, great job.
Thank you.
Who's next? I
Let's set this up. Video. Really short video. Now I'll let you know when it hits play. All right.
I will be here.
So start the timer.
Whenever you're ready, it's not a
I'm ready.
Do you need the audio on the video?
No, doesn't, not necessarily. Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Delaney. I founded something called the Health Millionaires Club. And what we do is we help people see their bodies and their health the way you see money and wealth. And if you really think about it, money is how much do I make versus what do I do with it? Well, the same thing is true of calories. How much do you take in and what do you do with the calories? And so I've been working for 3 years now with individuals one-on-one, and I've helped people from 67 all the way down to age 30, improve their health, lose weight, lose pounds, lose inches. And what always happens though is that the longer they work with me, the more they take what I teach them about health and they apply it to the rest of their lives. So I've helped people multiply, duplicate their business or expand their business. I've helped husbands treat their wives in a more loving way, so she will treat them in a more loving way. I've helped parents be better with their children, and just about every part of life, I've been able to help people. And what I realize is I'm not just a health and fitness coach. I really am a personal development expert, but I use health as a tool. Now, those of you in business, I would like to make you aware that the most important tool you have to grow your business, to improve your marriage, anything, is your body. Without your body, you're literally nothing. But if you let your body go, you become a burden to everyone that you love and know. So I've been working with individuals, and what I'm here today to ask is any advice you can give me to go from individuals to companies as a personal development tool where they can say, hey, we want to help you be more healthy, to reduce healthcare costs, to reduce downtime, increase productivity, but also, as a side note, increase productivity and effectiveness of their teams working with them. Are you ready? So I'm going to show you two things. Number one, my age. I'll show you my age in two ways. Number one, my limited technical capabilities, which is why he's going to press the button now because I couldn't do it. And then some capabilities I developed over the course of time as a 60-year-old. There's some things that I can do that I think most men of any age really can't do. This was after a workout, and I promise you very few people can do that. Now, I can't teach you how to do that. That's something you have to want to do. But I just want you to know that, like when my company is called the Health Millionaires Club. I just want to show you that at 60, I can do things that most people can't do. Last year, I ran 1,000 miles, and I've helped other people run hundreds of miles who swore they couldn't walk. So last year, I had a pastor from a church out in Greece run a 10K, and he ran it twice during the Thanksgiving weekend, one for practice and one for real. I've helped a ton of people lose weight. So the ability to help people perform better with their mind allows them to improve their bodies. One-handed push-ups, yes, they're possible. You can do it. And helping them have a success, not a motivational speech, but an actual success. When someone runs their first mile that has never run, all of a sudden they believe they can do other things. And so working with companies, I'd love to take success with their health and help them not just be more productive health-wise, but also be more productive as employees and leaders and in whatever functional roles that they play. Something else I just want to share with you real quick is that as a society, we are bombarded with sugar, salt, lethargy. There's so many TV channels, there's so many, that we are literally being conditioned to sit, gain weight, and then die early or become a ward of various health institutions. And I want to fight that. And so one of the ways I want to do it is by helping individuals and also by helping companies. So that's my ask. How would you go about if you were a sole entrepreneur? You have a track record, you have the results that people want. How would you go about helping how would you advise me to go about getting into companies to help them do the same thing for their employees? Does that make sense, what I'm asking?
Yes.
And basically speaking, if you happen to be an individual and you think I might be able to help you improve your body, that QR code is the way to reach me and get my contact information. And that QR code creation is the only technology I really know. And I paid for it, so it's. But if you want to talk about health technology regarding 4 primary areas of life, number 1 is eating. I can help you or a team find an eating plan that works for you. There is no one plan that works for everyone, but I can help you find one that works for you. Exercise, not everybody can do the things that I want to do, but starting with walking, I can help you get to any level of fitness you're willing to commit to. Rest. The last 2 about you, putting yourself first. Rest. How many of you lack rest? More rest is usually. And then number 4, alleviating stress and getting stressful people out of your life. Those 4 are my foundations. But the main thing that I do is I help people change how they see themselves, so they change how they see food, diet, exercise, rest, and alleviating stress. So that's my ask, and so I love any questions or any answers to my question about how to work with companies. Yes, ma'am.
Are you on LinkedIn?
I am.
How are you sharing your work and offerings on LinkedIn?
Not very well. I have gotten a couple of clients from it, and I just simply mostly direct message them and ask, would you be interested in going on a health journey? That's why I call it a 12-month health journey, where I guide people to change their mind so their mind changes their bodies.
Do you offer workshops or any other platform to share your offerings?
I do have courses. In fact, one of the things I have for you that takes you to is a course I created called the 8-Day Minus 250 Calories a Day Challenge. And the first lesson is free. If you take that lesson, you'll get my philosophy on that lesson, and then there's 7 more to help people implement and how to fully get to the minus 200 how to lose or burn an extra 250 calories in a day. And if you do that over time, you'll lose 2 or 3 pounds a week. Did I answer your question?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
You were trying to get into businesses and, any businesses that have an on-campus fitness facility. Seems like if you're there and you can help a lot of people, you're a better investment for whoever's deciding to use it versus getting, individual clients where you can give a lot of help or a little bit of help to a lot of people and then hope they catch on versus.
Are you talking about like a Planet Fitness or something like that?
No,
Okay.
like some different office spaces have like a couple treadmills.
Yeah,
and
like companies have in-company
Okay.
fitness programs.
Cooper Vision has a in-building gym.
Okay.
So if you could offer something like
Like my wife works
Consolidate.
for Excellus, and they have both they do have
Thank
an
you.
in-company kind of gym, but they also have, it's like, they'll have online fitness classes and things.
So I appreciate that, and I can pursue that, but I kind of want to be like the Anthony Robbins for companies who help their employees grow and better, whether they have a fitness center or not, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I don't want to be limited as a fitness coach, because that's technically not what I am. I'm more mental, so I would rather go through a.
But I think what you're saying is it's like approaching them, and they probably would be more open to doing something like that, right?
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of people that use it, and like what you decide to do with them is up to you. But there's people
Once you're
that
in the
decide
room.
to use it. It's like a
Yeah.
Okay.
receptive market.
Okay, I saw her hand.
So, look around, 1 in 3 people have prediabetes, most don't know it, they're working in these companies. Leads to type 2, they're having blood sugar spikes. Those blood sugar spikes are affecting their productivity, they're getting brain fog, so they're not accurate, you're crunching those numbers, you're making mistakes. And you're exhausted after lunch or after eating the crummy food that they put out for their employees. And go. So.
And often they're crankier after the afternoon. That's what's
That's their moods, right? So you
Okay.
have employees taking more time off because they feel bad, they're having mental health issues, because it's all related to their gut health, so you can go in from that perspective.
Thank you.
You've heard of CrossFit, maybe?
Yes.
Okay, they recently started out, not necessarily like, 100, 200 years ago, but, within the last 40 years, and it might be worthwhile for you to look at how that program was created and everything, off of that one guy developing a fitness program. Because it's, I think, kind of like what you're describing here, and everything like that, where you want
I think CrossFit's been around longer than 4 years, right?
40.
Oh,
so
40, okay.
I don't know. I did a case study on them, but we were looking at the different ways of how they were able to grow that business and everything like that.
What's interesting is that guy is in terrible shape. I'm surprised he's still alive.
Yeah, well, there are critiques of the fitness regime itself and everything like that, yeah, but.
So and you're next, but I just want to say, like, I don't want to be thought of as a fitness person. I'm really helping people change their minds. Fitness is the tool I use to provide evidence to someone that they can do something they didn't think they could do before.
Okay.
So it's a totally different perspective.
And I think what we're saying is that that's your entry point into organizations, and then you can expand. But if you're not in the organization, you can't tell them what you're offering. It's a marketing tool,
Okay.
not a niche that we're suggesting you stay in.
So it sounds like you're really focused, your value proposition that you're trying to pitch to a company is that you're going to make the employees more productive, more healthy, they're probably going to retain the talent, et cetera, et cetera. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, great. So for me, that ties directly to HR benefits.
Correct.
And so there's a couple different resources that come to mind.
That was your 10 minutes here.
There's something called SHRM, so that's, I forget the short form, but it's basically, and I can.
I'll talk to you afterwards about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different resources, locally. I'll just share it after.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Yes, sir.
My summary is you're really more of a health style and wellness coach for people, much broader than just working out in the gym.
Correct.
And I think they need to understand that. I came out of the Bay Area where the need was, there were a lot of companies, a lot of startups with a lot of high pressure. And they really needed some help for somebody to come in and help their executive teams deal with the stress and deal with the growth. Now, you get a big company, you have so many people you can help. Quite often, I've seen companies that will go in and specifically focus on the E-staff, where they see a need to make the E-staff more productive. And if you can represent yourself with a pitch or whatever you put together to go ahead and pitch to these people, the scope of services that you can do to bring their staff to a higher level of productivity with a couple of case studies or examples, that might suit you really well.
Yeah, do some
Thank you.
trials. Find a company where you can go through the whole executive staff and engage them. So there's a whole messaging that has to happen. Then engage them, and then figure out how to spread it down through a large company like Excelis.
I'm not sure you'll support a 500 employee company, but the value proposition, you start there though, and they're the guys that are gonna write the check. Okay, and if you can sustain business, but then if you can expand your business by bringing other people on to support your program to make it broader, then you'd have, deal with that.
Yeah, sell to VCs, because they want to see their money protected. That's you.
So I think it's important to know that he's not really a startup. He's kind of just trying to do it on his own as a consultant. And that he has case studies from clients that he's already worked with. So if I were you, I would go back to my clients and I'd go, hey, can you give me some metric of how your productivity increased as a result of me working with you? And then I go to those companies and be like, hey, whenever I talk to people, whenever I work with them, your productivity increases by this much. I can do that for an entire division at your company. Love to work with you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you all.
Do you know Richard Blazer?
These are amazing to say.
And I would like to hire Mark to remove people that are stressful in my life. Maybe he has to physically remove them from my life.
So you're gonna be running startup right on your own.
You got no one here is stressful.
There are strategies, Mark.
Oh, you got one of those? Sorry. There you go.
Okay, I guess I'm on this side then. Let's see if this works. Oh. There it goes. Okay. Can everybody see that?
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Connor Peters. I'm the founder and CEO of Locke, and we're a cybersecurity company based in Rochester. And our goal is to provide seamless and secure access for everything on the internet. And you can see we actually have an app right now. It's a password manager that saves your passwords and autofills them into everything. And we're on the iOS App Store and the Chrome Web Store, and Android is coming soon as well. I'm going to talk more about the product, but I want to talk a little bit about how we're going to accomplish a ubiquitous login, hopefully across the entire internet, which is the goal. And it's something called continual factor authentication. You might have heard of two-factor authentication. This is different in that it's happening continually in the background all the time using behavioral passive data, such as how you type and how you walk using your smartphone. And so it's more secure than passwords, and it's way more convenient than two-factor authentication. I mean, two-factor authentication sucks. People who use it, like, you get a text message, you have to go find your phone, or you're on the Authenticator app and like it's timing out while you're trying to type it. 2FA is secure, but it really is not usable. And it's actually not recoverable either. This is a massive problem with 2FA, is if you lose your phone, you can just straight up lose access to things, and that's a huge problem. So what we started with was this feature called social recovery. And as far as I know, it's the only truly end-to-end encrypted recovery for a password manager out there. Basically what we're doing is you can add up to 10 family members to your account, and you can delegate them to be recoverers. And if you lose complete access to everything, it'll send them all a message, and a minimum threshold of them need to respond for you to get in. So you can add up to 10 people, and if you can have a threshold between 2 to 10. And so if you set 4 people and you lose your access, they'll all get notified. You might need only 2 codes, and then you can get complete access to everything again. And it's end-to-end encrypted, it's extremely secure. And you can actually even see your password afterwards. You don't have to change it, which for older people is huge. And as an aside, it also acts as sort of like a digital will. You can imagine if you had grandparents and God forbid they pass, you guys can all go in and get access to everything without needing to reset their accounts or get a death certificate and go through all that, find their sticky notes, which is something my mom had to do last year for my grandpa, and so it's relevant. And so starting with the hard part with authentication is recovery. It's very difficult to have complete end-to-end recovery. Other password managers, they'll have you print out a sheet or something, and if you lose that sheet, again, you're SOL. There's no way to get it back. So the hard part is how will this continual factor authentication become ubiquitous? And our goal is to eat authentication from the bottom up, starting with passwords, moving into passkeys and 2FA. And then the end state is we want to commoditize identity and access management with a free enterprise API. So basically, businesses now spend $26 billion a year on identity and access management. If we could come in with a free enterprise API, there would be a huge monetary incentive to integrate our system. Kind of how Gmail did that with email back in the day. They made a free email, which was unheard of. And then now they have 1 billion users. And so we're starting with the consumer product, which is our password manager. It's $11.99 a month, and that gives you and 10 family members full access. So for per person, it's about $1 a month. And that gives you all the password autosave, autofill, the social recovery, and the continual factor authentication, which is what we're building right now. We have a typing model, machine learning model that we built, that we trained. It's 87% accurate over just 30 characters. We want to get that number up, but 30 characters is a really small number. So if you can imagine you're on your keyboard and you're typing and somebody's trying to hack you, it'll be pretty quick before they're just completely locked out and we're aware of the situation. So the hard part is how do you make money? So obviously we're starting on the consumer facing, and then with a free enterprise API that's going to cost money, but the consumer product we also want to be free eventually. And the reason how we're going to make money is we're going to build this enterprise monitoring software. So these businesses that integrate it can then pay for an upgraded version that they can monitor their internal network, and they get alerted for like potential breaches. Every time something hits their network, they get alerted using our machine learning models. Yeah, this is the team. I'm Connor, I'm the CEO. That's Meet, he's the VP of machine learning, and that's Brandon, my CTO, who I graduated with from SUNY Rockport. And so we're looking for angel investors, or even better, customers. So if you guys have an iPhone and you want to download the app, you can and register. As I said, it's $11.99 a month. It's just released last month, so we're still working out some kinks. But the nice part is if you join now, you can kind of help shape the early product, which is fun. We can iterate quickly. Word of advice, if you do register, don't do it on iOS because it costs more, because Apple sucks. So do it on the website. But yeah, let me see if there's anything I missed. No, any questions? kind of went through that quickly, I feel. Yeah.
So it sort of reminds me of early voice recognition. You'd have to train it before it worked. You'd have to, give it a sample.
Yes, sir.
Is this a product that you have to train?
For the typing aspect, yes, but it only takes 1 or 30 characters to do that. We can do it with a very short amount of data. Very small.
Even for people who type?
Yeah, especially for people who type like that.
That's the training.
Yeah.
Is that a password of 30 characters, or what do you mean 30 characters?
So it's passively authenticating you. So just any typing that you do has an 87% accuracy over just 30 characters. And so as you type an email or you type a message or something, we can tell over time if it's you or not, and eventually we'll lock you out if it's not, if it's like a hacker instead of you. So this is continually authenticating you in the background. Does that make sense?
By what you are typing?
By how you type.
Email, or is the password?
By how you type. Everybody types differently. Everybody walks differently. If you're a kid and you're down in the basement and you can tell somebody's walking up and you know who it is just by how their footsteps sound, it's exactly the same. Machine learning is incredible, and we can tell very accurately who's typing and how.
How does this? I think you're asking about like how does somebody interact with that system to train it though?
Well, that system. So this is the goal is seamless access. The beautiful part about it is you don't interact with it at all. You just live, do your thing, and you're constantly being authenticated.
Is there like an agent like on all your apps watching everything you do? Or?
So, great question. Okay, I see. So yes, on our app, what we're doing is actually we're staking that machine learning model, and we're distributing it to the family and friends that you add, and all of the processing is done on their devices using a peer-to-peer network. So all the data is stored locally by people you know and trust, so we actually don't have it. And then on top of that, the recoverability aspect, if you lose your phone, unless 50% of everybody you know loses their phones, you're all good.
Is it watching every keystroke you make?
Yes, if you opt in, it's opt in. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Oh, sorry. We'll come back.
I could wait.
Yeah.
Who are your competitors? Who else is working on this? Because two-factor authentication sucks, right? Everyone knows it.
Yeah, everybody does.
Somebody's got to be working on it. Who else is working on it? What are your competing technologies and how far along?
It's a good question. So there's a lot of password managers out there. That's kind of a commodity at this point. So those are our most direct competitors at this point because we had to build a minimum viable product, and the easiest way to get in there was password managers. Long term, the biggest competitors are people like Microsoft and Okta, who run these massive enterprise identity access management software that companies spend literally hundreds of thousands of dollars on a month. So those will be our big competitors. Yeah.
So, again, back to the typing thing, it's like, I don't know, iOS, but like on the Android side, it's like for typing, I use the like where you're swiping.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So doing that versus if I'm typing something, it's gonna be different.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we haven't built that out yet. You're right, that would be different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the goal is not to just have it be just typing. We're taking in as much passive
I don't know
signals as we can take.
I don't know if there's something similar on the Apple side.
There is, yeah. Yeah, and right now it's just for desktop specifically, and we're building out our mobile versions. That's a great point. We've not considered that.
Put it on the roadmap.
Yeah, exactly, roadmap,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, yeah, that's true. It's like, me typing on a keyboard versus typing on a phone is.
I'll say this, it is device specific. So you do type differently per different devices, so we have different environments. Well, you had a question back there?
Are there any blocks that for like international travel, if I have my laptop and I work in China, will I have a block for this? Will it lock me out? Will it still work? Or you're kind of on that part?
So we haven't gotten that far right now yet, but I imagine we could have a system very similar to a bank where you just let them know, you let us know that you're traveling and that's you, and we can tell. Or actually, scratch that, we're building a VPN as well. You would just use the VPN. So yeah, I had to process that. Yes.
3 really quick questions, hopefully.
Yeah.
How have you thought about accessibility?
From what perspective?
So like, not everyone physically types.
Yes. So we're getting as many passive signals as we can get. So typing is just the first one that we're starting with.
Okay,
There'll also be gates and location and anything that we can get that's all opt-in. So it just depends on the individuals. If there's a situation where they're paraplegic or something, it might not. They might just have to use passwords.
Okay. How are you measuring success for your current pilot, or have you thought through that?
MVP. Yeah, revenue. So we have 3 customers, which is awesome, but we want more. Thank you. So once the Android app is finished, I'm just going to be going around selling to everybody. So Yeah, just onboarding new customers, that's our KPI, it's revenue. Did you have another question? You said you had three.
I'm wondering if you may want to niche down a little bit on who your customer is for your pilot. Who's your pilot customer or MVP?
Family specifically. So it's one product for families that has password sharing and such like that. So unlike Netflix, we want you to like share passwords. Yeah, so families. Yeah, and it's typically, you know.
Is that the biggest market opportunity?
No, but you know, one thing at a time. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, kind of hitting that niche of families specifically who trust each other and want the social recovery. So again, if you have, like my grandpa passed away last year, and my mom had to go down to Florida and get access to all of his insurances.
Yeah.
And it took her like weeks and weeks, and it's just this big headache when you really don't want to be thinking about something like that. So this solves that problem for families with typically older relatives who are not tech savvy and likely to get hacked. So yeah.
I'm still trying to understand. So this is an active system where all while I'm typing, it's monitoring what my biometrics or whatever it is, to determine whether it's actually me. And if at some point it decides it's not me, it stops me, flags me, puts something up. I mean,
Yeah.
And what happens if I'm, I don't know, margarita impaired or something?
So that's something called biometric aging, actually, and it is something we're taking into account based on like the time of day. So you know, you're not going to type the same into Netflix at 11 at night as you are at 8 a.m. in the morning with coffee, right? So it's true.
I'm working with a company over in Saudi Arabia, and you know, so my hours are not conventional hours.
Sure, yeah, and so our models will account for all of these different variables, and it'll build a statistical model just for you. So if you are working these abnormal hours, it should account for that.
So
it's not.
It's a continuous monitoring system.
Yes, if you opt into that. The initial product is just a password manager. The continual factor stuff is like kind of the end goal. If we can have this seamless access system, that's where we're heading, to get rid of passwords completely. But we have to bridge that gap, which is a password manager initially. Yes.
How big is your team?
Just the three. Yeah.
And they're from SUNY Brockport?
Brandon is, yeah. Meet is from University of Chicago. He just moved to Rochester. But they both have full-time jobs. So they're the team.
But nobody from RIT or U of R?
No.
Oh, huh.
Sorry, guys.
Look at that.
Yes.
Is there some sort of override? Say I have power of attorney and now it's time to take over my mother's things, but I can't type what she can. How would you?
Right, so that's what the social recovery would do, is that say your mother had you and all your siblings as her recoverers, you would all get notified, you would all agree, enter the code, and then you would have complete access to her account. So it's sort of a digital estate plan in that way, is that you can have, what's the legal word for it, executors. You would be, we call them recoverers, but you would be an executor on her digital account. And then you can disable the continual authentication aspect, so you can get into what you need.
Just really quick, there's also a business in Buffalo called Time Capsule. Are you familiar with
I'm not, no.
Okay, I can discuss it with you after, but they've identified a very similar problem of if someone passes away and accessibility and things like that, so.
Yeah, with trying to build a ubiquitous login, it's obviously an ambitious venture, and we tried to tackle the hardest part first, which is recovery. If you lose, you're not, you're you. You should have access to all the things that you have access to, but in some situations you can get logged out. Like people have lost hundreds of millions of dollars on Bitcoin because if you don't have your key, you can't get it back. So this system is post-quantum secure, end-to-end encrypted. It's a good way to get it back.
Remember in the early days of fingerprint recognition, one of the issues was false positives and false negatives. Does this technology have anything like that?
Yeah, it's 87% accurate, over 30 characters. So once you keep typing, the longer, the more accurate it gets, but over a short span, it's, right now our current model is at 87%. We want to get that number up to 93, it seems to be.
So you can have false positives by what, 13% or something?
But they would not, to clear, they would not get access with that 13%. In the current version, you still need your password. We're not trusting this alone. It's, at worst, it's a password, but at best, it's seamless access, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't get rid of that quite yet. We have to build all this extra technology before we can. Yeah.
Being highly suspicious, I'm just curious, you have access to everything that I type, or do you just have, are you seeing, how do I know you can't see what I'm typing and who I'm typing to and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a great question. So in the current version of it, if you opt in, it gets encrypted and sent to our servers, and then we train it and then delete it. Theoretically, at this stage, we could look at it, we don't, but what we're building out is a peer-to-peer network so that the family members that you add, all processing is done literally on your and their smartphones. So your smartphones are all talking to each other all the time, creating this kind of mesh, and that's where the processing happens. So you get to delegate trust to the people that you trust. Yes?
So most devices have a camera looking at me. Could you add another factor like their face?
Theoretically, it's a little scary. But yeah.
But it would be more secure.
Yes, yeah. Actually, Microsoft just announced something recently somewhat similar to that. But yeah, we can add in any data that we can get. Voice, gait,
Because
video.
biometric, it's not that obtrusive.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
If you trust it.
That's true. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yes.
Why should I trust you?
It's a good question. I think it's because with social recovery, we're really focused on community and security through community. And if you add people that you trust, then you don't have to trust us because it's end-to-end encrypted. So if you set it up properly, then we cannot get access to any of your things or look at any of your things. It's physically impossible. Now, why you would trust what I just said?
You just said it, you're right.
Yeah, no, that's a
true.
good question. We're not open source. At some point I'd like to be, but there's some business hurdles to that, so I can't say that we're open source. Yeah, I mean, you'd have to take my word for it at this point. I could show you the software if you like.
And the other is, what if the family decided to all got together and wanted to go to after grandma's account?
Yeah, no, that's a legitimate risk. And so you would have to, define who you can trust. Rather than trust being selected for you, we give you the option to decide. So, of course, it's always a risk, but you can set a threshold. So if you add, say, 8 family members, you would only need 6 of them to log in, or you need all 8, or you'd only need 2. It's just variable, however you decide.
One of the legal representations on the will or something could be one of those people. So it could be all family members plus.
Yeah, and you could add in a lawyer or something if you wanted. Yeah. Yes.
What would be your goal, like a dream state, like what's your exit?
It's a good question. Facebook, having a partnership with them, like how OpenAI has a partnership with Microsoft. Facebook could own like 10% of the company, but it's still a separate company. But then we do all of their authentication. They outsource that to us. Facebook doesn't want to do authentication. It's a burden, but they have to. We'll let them do the social media and the ads and the stupid stuff. We'll just be their security partner, and they onboard their 1 billion users. That would be the exit. So, yeah. And then at that point, you'd have a ubiquitous login where you really could log into everything with Locke. So that's the goal. Yes?
I've been listening, and I just think as you ponder your future of growing this company, whether or not it's we don't trust you, or whether or not I don't want my mother to know what I'm doing online, or whoever, I think that's a question we have to answer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, privacy and security is like the #1 thing that I'm worried about. Definitely. And that's why we started with security through community with the social recovery, is that at the very least you can determine who it is that you trust. You don't have to trust us to own. Rather than like Google where you really have no choice. Right?
But I just want to say there's a difference between trusting someone or not trusting them, but still not wanting to see my stuff.
Well, they wouldn't be able to see any of your things.
Oh, they would, okay,
No,
so,
no.
So I think we need to make that really clear.
Yes.
I thought that they had
Yes.
access and could see.
No.
Eventually they got together.
No, so you have your password manager and you can add 10 family members, but they all have their own individual vaults. You can't see anything in each other's unless you deliberately share it, which is another feature that we have is secure password sharing. So if you have a Netflix account, y'all can have the same password in one place. So, yeah. But that's a great question. That's like definitely my first priority that I'm concerned about. All right, well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.